Hi all my wonderful friends and family out there. This little video is going to be about knitting, and I've set myself up here amongst the animals, and it's such a beautiful day, so I think I'll it'll be nice light to show you. And I just want to say shortly that knitting working with wool has been a part of human existence, I mean, for thousands and thousands of years. Knitting is quite recent, really, and I think the oldest garment they have found was an Arabic or Arabian, what you call it, sock, and it's from the 1200s, and they think that knitting, as we know it today, it is done in different ways, but that it originates from Arabia, and that it has come up into Europe from there. And I've got out a basket here, and what I want to teach you is the Danish way, and it's actually probably taught to us originally by the Dutch people who came to Denmark in the 1600s. And or I'm actually not sure, but there's the English way, which I have never really learned, because I learned the Danish way by my mother, and it's actually quite much a lot faster to do it the Danish way. And of course, once you've learnt one way, that's the easiest, and it's hard to change. But if you're just learning to knit, it's actually good to start off learning to knit the Danish way. So I'll show you just a few things. This is from our sheep. It's things I've made. This is what I've got on. It's from the sheep that are out here behind me. I made this last winter, and this just recently I made this thick one. It's from a jumper I really liked. I was given by one of our children, and I took the pattern and or made it sort of similar. So it's really amazing once you learn to knit, and if you learn to make your patterns yourself, or just learn how you can sort of build up a pattern, you can actually make incredible things, and it's all really with very simple stitches. I've never been good at the complicated stitches, so it's really basic stitches. And like this, for instance, is actually our own grey sheep and a black sheep, and this here is some wool I dyed some years ago, which is from it's actually a little beetle that lives in South America, and it's called cochineal in Danish, cochineal or something, and I bought it in a little packet. It's just dried, these little bugs that are dead, and it's dried, and you make a powder of it, and then you can dye white wool and make it so beautiful. And that's just really amazing. I haven't done much dyeing, but I think this was an amazing experience, and I love the pink colours. They're so beautiful. And if you look after a garment like this and keep the moths out, see, I couldn't do that. It's got a moth holes. If you air it well, keep the moths out, you can have it for many, many years. And here we have some of the white wool from this jumper, and some grey wool from a grey sheep I used to have, and here's from a brown sheep, and it's all hand spun wool. So I think I'll start off with this white wool, and I'll take these. Just have to check. They're not used to having me in a chair out here, but I think they'll be okay. So this is circular needles, and I use them a lot. And it's no scientific thing about it. It's you can knit just squares with it, but you can also knit rounds with it. So if you're knitting a jumper and you don't want to sew the jumper up in the sides, afterwards you can just knit round. I'm making a bit of a mess here. It's really handy to have these. And knitting with wood is very nice. You can get bamboo and you can get wood. I think this is rosewood or something. It's very nice for the hands because it's natural compared to metal. Now, here we go. I'm going to show you how to start off. So here we have, we're going to take a piece and go into the wool a little bit, and then you make a loop like this. So just an ordinary loop, and you put both your needles into the loop. I don't know if maybe I should turn a bit so you can get the sky in the background and you can see it better. Now, this is a little bit difficult to start off with, but as everything, once you've learnt it, you're on your way. So actually put your pointer finger and your thumb in between the two strings, and then you hold it like this. See that with your hand, like this. And my husband's doing some selling. Now you've got it like this, and you go down like this. Okay? And so here we start. You go under, you go over, and you pull it through. And you pull. That's one stitch. The first one was the loop, and here was the stitch. So now we go again. You go under, over, pull it through, and pull. I'll show it sort of from both ways. You go under, over the other one, pull it through, and just pull. Just sort of tighten them. And you can tighten them quite hard. So you go under, take the other one, go through, and pull. Go under, over, go through, and pull. I think you can do this many ways, but this is the way I learnt, and it's pretty much the Danish way to do it. I'll turn around the other way, maybe that helps you a bit, I don't know. You can see it from here. You take it under there. Oops. Okay, and I'll just count the stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. We'll just make 20, 18, 19, and 20. Now, we've got a string now that's loose, that just has no, it's just cut off, and now we have this. And we're going to keep this, this is what we're going to use for knitting, of course. And then what you do is, you sort of watch out here, but you pull one out, and now you've got it. You've got it on one needle. And you could just use ordinary needles for this. You don't need a circular needle. So now what we're going to do now is start knitting. And we're just going to do plain knitting. So the Danish way, I think it's best I move around like this. You put your pointing finger, oops, and then you hold like this. So I think I'll just turn the camera so you can see better. Or maybe this way. Get the light in here. what it looks like when you're knitting. So, got the wool, put that down there in the basket. And this you just leave. This one you just leave. And then you take this one, the one you're going to knit with, put your pointing finger under there, and then you hold like this. Okay? Well, actually, you have it in your hand like this. So the one you're going... Oh, that is not very smart. But actually, this wool fell apart. So I'll just put a knot on that. It's just some leftover wool I have. Okay, try again. You've got your needle here, and you hold on to it, and the wool that you're going to work with, you put over your pointing finger and into your hand. This just bit that you're not going to knit with, you just leave that. Now you're set, and you've got the string over here. So you go in, and you go over, you pull it back, and take it off. This is the way you knit in Denmark. You go into the stitch, just into this part of the stitch. You go over, into there, over, and pull it through, like that. Now we've knitted 3. So in, take it over, pull it through, and lift it off. So you keep having this beautiful string that's just coming off the finger. It's ready there to take. See, you don't have to do something with this hand. This is just more or less just pulling, just controlling it. And if you like, you can put your finger there to sort of hold it back when you're learning, to sort of, so it doesn't slip off. And after a while, you learn to just use this finger. But in the beginning, you just go round like this. Oh, the sun's going away now. So here we have our first row of knitting. Now we turn it around, and you can see this one here is just hanging there. You can cut that off if it's too long. And here it looks different. It's sort of got the pearl pattern. But that's what it's going to look like when you... That's like what I've done here on this jumper. This is this part here. That's what we're doing. But you're going to get that pattern that's there. So now we do it again. You go into the front part of the stitch. You take it over and you pull it back through. So in, over and through, in, over and through. And you can feel the string coming up. And if you think it's going, you're pulling it too fast, or it's just too loose, you can just tighten your hand a little bit, so that the string doesn't come so fast. Oh, it's getting really cloudy now, so we might go indoors. So. So we'll just continue. Maybe maybe get a little bit closer. Closer the better. Whoops. Sorry. So we've got the holding the piece of work, and you've got the wool over the finger. This is just a bit that's. I'll just cut that off. Just cut this off so we can see difference. And you take it, so it's not over this way, it's behind. You go over the pointing index finger, or what do you call it, and then keep the wool in your hand like this. This is just a knot, it's nothing. So we go into the front, go around, take it through, and pull that off. So often when you're learning, here comes the knot. Doesn't matter, just leave that. When you're learning, these all come off, so you sort of hold them back with this thumb. Hold these ones back. So that was the third row. We turn it again, and now we can just chop this off, this wool, and also keep it. But if you want to use other colours, let's use some grey. So we want another colour now, and we'll just take the wool and hold that. So this will just leave, this one we've been using, and we'll take the new one and just sort of hold it between, you can hold it there so it doesn't slide through, and you do the same. Now you're just taking the grey and just sort of hold it so it doesn't pull through. Otherwise you could have tied it to this, tied them together with a knot. And then you just continue with the grey. And I'm using big needles because that makes it easier. Of course, when you're starting to learn, always use big needles because that's like everything. It's much easier to control. But of course, you're going to get much more loose knitting. Turn it and take it over your index finger, and you go again. So you're sort of using this to pull this back. I can try going around so you can see what it looks like for me. This is what it looks like for me when I'm knitting. So in, over, and through. In, over, and through. And the last one, and of course that's a bit loose because that's where the loose end is. So we can, just to make it easy for ourselves, just tie them together. The end of the grey and the end of the white. There we go. Get the right one. Just put this black because it makes it easier to see when you have a black background. And here we go again. And the next video I'll show you how to do the the other type of stitch. I can't remember what it's called in English. We call it vrat. This is a rat. Rat, R-E-T. Rat is the right side, and the other, doing the other stitch is called vrat. So now we're getting a bit of pattern in it. And we can take the brown, cut off the grey. Oy! And take some of the brown, and we'll make it easier for ourselves by just tying it on so that it doesn't slip. So just leave all those ends, and when you finish you with a needle, you sew it all in. All these you sew into the work, but I can show you that later. You hold here over the index finger and get it under there, and then you go with the brown. So nice. I love knitting. And in old times in Denmark, everyone was knitting. The children were knitting. The men were knitting. The women were knitting. So you have these beautiful old paintings of women, the milking maids who've been down to milk on the fields, and they're carrying the milk on their head, and they're knitting. They're usually knitting socks, and knitting socks you use 4 needles. So you're going round on 4 needles. I can show you that one day, how to knit socks, because that's probably what they just mostly needed to have warm feet, because when you have warm feet, the whole body's warm often. And now we have a bit of brown coming. And I just love how these colours come from nature. These ones I'm knitting with, it's the colour of the wool of the sheep. It's just completely natural. And this especially is really beautiful because it's got this red and white, grey. It's got all these different colours in it. Oops, sorry. All these different colours in it. So beautiful. How nature is just in itself so wonderful. Now I'll show you this. We're going to finish this off now. And how you finish it off is, you could do a scarf, just keep going and going and going and going. And it's actually, if you keep going, you might like to not cut these off, just keep them with you, and you can just pull up the colour. If you want grey again, you just pull the colour up and keep going. But then you'll have 3 of these, what do you call them? These yarn rolls to keep an eye on, and they can knot into each other. So now we're going to finish it off. So we just knit 1 as we've done before, and we knit 1 again, and we pull the first one we made over the one we just made. Just hold on to it, and you've finished that off. See, it's finished off. Do it again, and you pull it. I don't know if you can see this. Pull it over. Maybe I should take this away. You've got a white background now. So you've got one here. You knit 1 more, and you pull with this one. Hold on to them. Pull this one over. Whoops. Now this is 2-ply wool. So there's two plies. It's like this, the wool. So just make sure that you've got both of them with you. So whenever you've finished your garment, this is how you do, and make sure it's actually quite loose. Just keep this quite loose, because you don't want this end bit all small. If you make it too tight, you're going to end off with something does not look nice. So it's better to do it a little bit loose when you're finishing off. I just keep going. Oops, just make sure you get some light on. I should have set the other way, I think. We'll see how this is. We need the light on there. This last one. And over it goes. And now I've got the last one here. And what do I do with that? You just cut off the string and you pull it through. There we go. Now you can't unloosen it, but if you took that through, you could just loosen it and just keep pulling and you'd undo it all. So that was our first little knitting little thing, and from this, if you just learn this, you can make anything. So that was our first little knitting lesson.